What is up, everybody? Welcome in to the Jamal Lewis episode 31 of the Barking Brown Show. I am your host, Jacob at Rogism13 on the Twitter, joined as always by wonderful co-host Nick Carnes at Carnesy817. Nick, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, you know what? I am in show prep because we've hinted at it and we've talked a little bit of it, but with the bye week coming, we have a very special mashup coming.
December 7th.
December 7th on that Tuesday with our friends over at the Dog Chug. And so in honor of them, I have a high noon here. And granted, it is Wednesday, so that's a beautiful thing. And so I'm going to give this here a little chug because that's how they open every show. And I'm in training. I have to prepare myself for everything that they do over there because they put on a great show too. So with that being said.
So as Nick chugs this high noon, it will be known that I did not chug a beer in celebration of the Browns because I did not have any beer on Sunday. So I have agreed to chug a 40 of Natty Light should the Browns win on Sunday night.
What?
That is a thing that I said. What I did is I said I will chug 2 beers next week, and our good friend Andy Manchin over at the Dog Chug was like, "How about one?" And he sent me a picture of a 40 of Natty, and I was like, "Oh, I haven't done that since college, but let's ride, baby, let's ride." So welcome in, everybody. We are so happy to have you guys. Ed is over on the 1s and 2s. He'll be on here in just a second. He's watching the Twitter comments, so fire him in there for us if you got him on there. Welcome in everybody on Facebook. Welcome everybody in on YouTube. Thank you for commenting, subscribe, sending us hateful DMs. I'm just kidding. I don't get hateful DMs. Well, maybe I do, but they're probably from my wife. But anyway, I make that joke because my wife told me, she goes, when you get hit by trolls on the internet, what you need to do is tell them that you hear worse insults from your wife every day. And I started doing that. Our friend at Cancel Anime over on YouTube saying hello. How you doing, my friend? Brian over on Facebook says happy Turkey Eve, guys. Happy Turkey.
Oh, damn it. Yeah. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. It's a beautiful thing.
We are rolling, guys. Once again, as I say every week, I will say it this week. The most valuable thing you can give anybody is your time. Thank you once again for giving us some of your time this week. And we have a great show for you. So we are going to bring on the one, the only producer, Ed, so he can give us a rundown of what's going on tonight. Ed, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, what's up, guys? And Jacob, I want to say about the Natty Light. There was a radio station in Seattle a couple years back giving out a Nintendo, and they were chugging water, and that's kind of what Natty Light is. And somebody actually died from that. So watch out for the water poisoning from that Natty Light.
Well,
but yeah, we got a great show packed tonight. Getting you ready for the Turkey weekend of football. Got a big game on Saturday, big game on Sunday. And guess what? I just realized this. We want to make turkeys out of the Harbaugh brothers. We got Jim on Saturday and John on Sunday. So let's get it done. We're going to talk about the Lions game. And you know what? It was a victory, guys. And that's all that matters. You get to 6-5. You got a winning record. Now you're in the home stretch. You got divisional games coming up. So let's talk football. Let's get this thing rolling. I'm monitoring the Twitter comments. Fire them in. I'll get them on. Let's go, guys. Let's go.
All right, guys. The title of episode 31, just win, baby. That's all that matters. Ed, we will check in with you a little bit, my friend.
You're great. Thank you for that.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Ed's around there monitoring, doing all the things. Kyle joined us on Facebook. He says the Browns are going 12-5. He says Browns are going 12-5. There it is. Kyle has spoke it into existence, and so it shall be. I am wearing my Nick Chubb jersey again this evening. I'm pretty jacked up. I tweeted the other day that I truly believe that we are blessed to be able to watch a really special talent in Nick Chubb run the football. I think he is just, I'm not going to say something crazy like he's a Hall of Famer or the greatest of all time or anything like that, but I think he is a special, rare talent. I'm not going to call him generational or do anything crazy like that, but I think he's really, really good. And I think we are very blessed to be able to watch Roger. So Nick, I told you this pre-show. Did I say watch Roger? Because Ed just texted us that Roger joined the show, and I said to watch Roger. We are blessed. We will be watching Roger on the Dog Chug over on Andy Manchin at Catalina Manch Mixers Twitter at 10 p.m. tonight. He will be live, and he's got another awesome prank call for somebody in Baltimore.
Baby.
Check that out at about 10 till 11. It's well worth your time, guys.
If you haven't seen the prank calls that Roger and Roger's, oh wow, he does so many fun things that I never knew like Roger would do, and I love seeing him just use his talents for just
so serious. He's so serious, and then when you take him being so super serious in the things that he says in those prank calls, it's just so fun. Yeah. It's so fun. And he's the one that he called last week. She was a really good sport. I thought that.
She was such a good, and in true Cleveland fashion. That was a great call, great sport. But
Nick,
I can't wait to see.
We talked about this pregame. We talked a little bit about the drama surrounding the booze and the drama surrounding Baker Mayfield. And I said this pre-show, I said, I don't really want to spend much time of the show on it. I tweeted yesterday that I still think that the booing and Baker's comments about not caring that he was being booed, I think both of them are non-stories. Some people want to say they want to call into questions Baker's immaturity or that he's kind of a dick. I will remind you that he's always kind of been a little bit of a dick. He's been winning for the last year. Because remember what we said about him being a kind of an immature dick when in 2019 when we were losing. Winning makes everything better. He's grown up. He's grown up in the media, so he hasn't said it as vocally. But But here's my point. I said we should say something real quick on it, and we should move on. And I know you've kind of avoided it. But I always say that the big thing about this show is anything that I put out on Twitter, especially something that may get misconstrued, I like to take the opportunity on this show to, clarify my comments, to elaborate more than the limited amount of characters allows me to do on Twitter. So this is my 2 cents on the drama. There's some people comparing this booing to when we cheered Tim Couch getting hurt. Stop. Oh, you booed that is your quarterback. Yeah, and he had an 8.6 QBR and played like a heaping pile of dog shit. And he was the first one to tell you he played like a heaping pile of dog shit, man. I love Baker. You guys know I love Baker. If you're here for episode 31, then you have been here when I have tooted Baker's horn. I'm going to keep it real. You trying to act like booing a bad performance makes someone like me, who if I had been there would have booed. I will tell you that straight up. I've booed all kinds of fucking quarterbacks, and everybody acting like you haven't booed a quarterback, you're fucking lying if you're a Cleveland Browns fan. I'm telling you that right now. Yeah. But my point is, it's like, you don't want booed, don't suck. It's really simple. And you guys are saying, like, listen, Baker went out there and gutted it out. I have so much respect for the pain he has played through this year. Don't get it twisted. But if the injuries are so bad that they are causing you to have an 8.6 QBR, just sit down, man. It's okay. You don't have to. I know it's more for his teammates than anything, but you don't have to prove you're tough. We know you're tough. You're a tough son of a bitch, and you're out there giving it your all. I know you're out there giving it your all, and I respect the hell out of it. But stop acting like you're a fake fan that, people are saying, well, he's the best quarter. They keep saying, oh, you're booing him because you want to go back and 1-31. Don't you? Stop. I'm so sick of the, well, he's the best quarterback we've had since Bernie. Well, a shiny turd is still a turd. So if he's playing like a turd, we're going to call it like it is. Yeah. I'm a diehard Browns fan, man. Stop trying to act like because I booed, I'm a bandwagon fan or I'm not a real fan. I watched 0-16 while I was in a war zone. It's okay to be upset and want better from your team. Booing is not a death threat. Quit acting like it is. Rant over.
You know what? We all knew coming into this year that the bar was going to raise, right? Yes. And like everything was peachy last year because the Browns were far exceeding expectations. And, it's like every win that they had was just this wonderful thing. And I saw, like Baker said, we're 6-5 and everyone wants to throw us in the trash. Well, I mean, it's because for the majority of the time you've beaten bad teams and you've gotten slapped by most of the good teams, right? So it's like people are upset because you do not look like when you make it to the AFC divisional round and then you add an incredible amount of talent, right? Because there's no denying that the Browns added from Jadeveon Clowney to John Johnson to getting Grant Delpit back,
Greg Newsome,
Greg yeah, all these guys, right? Mm-hmm. And then you say, oh well, we've got this year of continuity, we've got the reigning coach of the year, we've got all these guys are coming back, and it's going to be great, and especially when you look at the defense, because everyone talks about all the injuries the Browns have, right? But when you look at the defense specifically, it's like besides being down your starting linebackers, which JOK was back, he got hurt again. It's like the defense, moreover, is intact. It's like the expectations are going to rise, right? There are way too many reasons for them to rise, and you right now are not meeting them. And I don't think it's too much to be upset because you should have a higher bar. Like, so everyone is like, oh, well, this 1-31 stuff and all that. No, see, that's the problem. You don't want to compare yourself to being the bottom feeding franchise anymore. That's not what you are. You're moving past that. You've moved past that. That is not a reasonable comparison.
Not the bar anymore.
No, it's not. And this whole, I saw, shout out to Gab Gowdy, who tweeted the other day that her point was, everyone was like, well, do you guys want to go back to 1-31 and all that stuff? And she was like, it's like low key disrespectful to everyone else on the offense, acting like, we don't have all this talent on the team. Because it's true, right? It's not like,
you know what? The 1-31. I just want to say this. I hate to interrupt, but I'm going to completely forget this point. You say, do you want to go back to 1-31? This is my question. Is the acceptable standard middle of the road in mediocrity? Do you just want to be a playoff team who maybe makes the playoff, or do you want a fucking championship? Yeah. Because I don't just want to be mediocre. I don't want to beat the Lions 13-10, and my quarterback has an 8.6 QBR. I think Baker's still the guy. We will get into that here in a second. But it is not, as Nick has said, the 1-30. The bar isn't 1-30. We're not 1-31. Last year was when you went above. Mm-hmm. Last year is when you went above the 1-31. You went 11-5. I don't just want 11-5 in a playoff appearance. I want a Super Bowl. Kyle weighs in and said Baker won a playoff game. I love Baker. Mm-hmm. What he did Sunday will not win a single playoff game, I promise.
There are two things that are simultaneously true here. Yes. Okay. And this is the thing that I think a lot of people get twisted or get confused. And so I want to say this. On one hand, the Browns, in my opinion, are dramatically underachieving for the talent level that they have currently. At 6-5, based on the way, I think they are dramatically underachieving, and they should have at least probably two more wins, maybe three. You could argue. Okay,
eight's where they really probably should be right now. Yeah,
based on their talent and based on the way they should be. Okay, so on one hand you have that, and on the other hand you have the fact that the Browns still control their own destiny, and the season is still there for the taking.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're going to get into tonight.
Both of those things can be true. The Browns can be underachieving, and they can still be right there for everything that they want to accomplish. And I think people are really having a hard time with both of those things at the same time.
You can support your team and still want more.
Yeah.
You can support your team and still want more. So I'm going to say one more thing about Baker, and it's not about the booing. It's not about any of this other stuff. I want to say one thing about Baker, and then I just want to start talking about everything else. We're going to catch up just in a second on the comments from Twitter and everywhere else. Well, we've got the YouTube and the Facebook comments caught up. I still believe that a healthy Baker Mayfield is the franchise quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. I still believe, and his actions tell you, that Kevin Stefanski thinks Baker Mayfield is the franchise quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. I still think, although it's less likely, that they may extend him in the offseason. Rather you agree with that or not, I think the organization has made that clear. I think that Baker Mayfield is the guy for the job, but right now, the way he's playing, and now we have 2 straight weeks of it, right? Right now, he's not the guy. He may not be the guy for this season because he can't. If he can return to like Bengals form, the way he played, I think right now it's the heel and the knee. He's not able to set his feet. He's not able to drive. It's in turn the pass when he needs to put some zip on it. He's not able. He's got that heel injury. He's got that knee injury. I don't think he's able to torque and drive it. And so in turn, it's floating on him and sailing high. That's the kind of stuff that I really wish you would have sat against the Lions, because that's the kind of injury that time could have helped you with. But I get it. I still think you're the guy. I still think you can win this year. I don't know if he can win a Super Bowl this year. I just don't know, unless he can be big. My problem right now is he isn't consistent. If you can be consistently good, that's fine. But right now, because I think of injuries and a lot of other things, it's not just injuries to him, because at times his receivers, by the way, overall this year have just been awful. I just don't think they consistently win and get open. And then they also have some drops. That being said, I think you can win a championship with a healthy Baker. My question is, can he be healthy enough this year? And I just don't know.
I just think the Browns have held, so they played 10 games. No, 11 games.
11 games.
5 of those games, you've held your opponent to 17 or less points.
I believe it's 6.
It might be 6. I may be short, selling themselves short. You still have the leading sacker in the NFL. You still have the lead. Well, I'm not sure if it's 1 or 2 right now. I haven't checked the updated stats, but it's like you're right there with the top rushing offenses in the NFL. And so you look at all of that and you're like, so if I just told you that a football team, any football team, I don't care what football team it is, they have the leading sacker in the NFL. They have one of the best. They have the top 1 or 2 rushing attacks in the NFL, and they have held half of their opponents or more to 17 or less points. You would say that their record should be far better. Like if you just had to guess their record, you would not guess 6-5. You wouldn't.
Number
right?
Number 1, 156.8.
Number 1. Okay, so there you go. All right, if I told you those 3 things, leading rushing attack in the NFL, sack leader in the NFL, and 17 or less points in more than half or more of your games, any reasonable person would guess that their record would be far better than 6-5. And so my whole point with this is that the reason people are so frustrated is because they know the Browns record will be better than what it is. Yeah. And it is okay to admit that. It's okay.
And that doesn't make you fake. It makes you passionate. It makes you want a fucking championship.
Yeah, I can't watch this team go to the divisional round last year and be right there in that game, add all this talent, have a year of continuity, and then now anytime you play a good team, it's like have they beat a good team this year?
The Bengals.
Well, I guess the Bengals. The Bengals is like the one outlier to me, right? But besides
that, now it's an outlier.
Right. Besides that, you haven't been a good team this year. And that is a colossal failure so far. But again, that being said, you beat Baltimore. You're still right there.
We got a lot to dive in. I will say something. Nicole Chatham pointed this out. Some people want to poo-poo on the parade because the game wasn't exactly like we wanted it. But guess what? The Browns still won. As the title of this episode suggests, just win, baby. Because guess what? I remember when we didn't just win. So we're winning. So let's fucking savor it. And if anybody tries to yuck your yum because you're trying to enjoy a good win, well, tell them to shove it up their fucking hind ass.
I want to say one. I'm sorry. I need to say one thing. We watched Pittsburgh go to Dallas and struggle against, I can't even remember the backup quarterback's name. They were down the entire game against Dallas last year.
Oh,
last year.
Garrett Gilbert, wasn't it?
I think it was Garrett Gilbert. I can't remember. But my point is that they went to Pittsburgh, or they went to Dallas, and they struggled the entire game against a backup quarterback, against a bad Dallas team that they had no business. It was like a 13-point spread, and they barely pull it out at the end. They still went on to win the division. I know
Ben DiNucci. It was Ben DiNucci.
Ben DiNucci. Thank you. Our new friend.
Our friend Totem.
Who is Matt. It's Matt. Thank you, Matt. But my point is, no, at the end of the year, when the Steelers won the division, no one was like, oh, well, they barely beat a backup quarterback in Dallas and a team that was terrible, right? It all counts the same. Yeah. They still won the AFC North, and they still got the home playoff game. It's on them that they didn't take advantage of that, right? But it all counts the same at the end. No one's going to be like, well, the Browns only won 13-10 against Detroit. You had to have the win, and you got it.
You only won by 2 points against the one-win Jags last year, and you won a playoff game. So I just want to remind you that stuff happens.
Nice.
Okay, so we're going to get on some comments. Kelly says, you can boo at the zoo. Does that mean you hate the animals? Of course not, except for maybe the zebras. Good point. Okay, let's see here. I'm trying. Sometimes I get confused here. That's Stefanski's call. Baker will never quit. He's wired that way. I do agree. I have an issue with Stefanski letting Baker back out on the field. I
do too.
We've got to call. Am I allowed to say this is a must win? Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
absolutely. Brad Ward was on our show last week, and he said the next 2 weeks are the season, or not next 2 weeks, but the next 2 games. So the next 3 weeks are the season, and I agree with him. Yeah,
they are.
I will never boo a guy wearing orange and browns if they are making an orange effort. Hey, that's fine. If you don't want to boo, don't boo. I just don't think that boos are death threats like some people seem to act like they are. And I'm not saying. All right, so Totem's got a bunch of thoughts here, man. Matt's got some thoughts, and we're going to pull them up on here. He said, 1, Baker's hurt. I agree. 2, Baker might only be a mid-level quarterback, which is okay. Once again, he may be. 3, Stefanski is learning more about being a head coach, meaning other teams are adjusting to his style, so now he has to adjust. I agree. He is still incredibly young head coach. He's also, might I remind you, 17-10 as a head coach, and I remember the days when we yearned for a record like that.
Yeah.
I agree with Matt here as well. He says the defensive struggles will clear up, need the offense to stay on the field longer for defense to be able to rust and adjust. And you know what? And he said, hey fellas, happy Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to you.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, friend. Glad to have you in our chat now.
You know, I got a good point. I want to build off of what he said right there. I want to build off of that. Stefanski, wait, hold on a second. I'm sorry. Yes. So in this particular game, and Pete Smith said this for Pete's sake today. He said, you know, that game when it was 13-0 until they scored, until DeAndre Swift busted that, it felt like the game was 40-0 because like the Browns were just dominating. They just weren't punching it in. So I felt like the defense didn't play on Sunday, like, because I don't remember it, because it felt like the Browns offense. And I need to look, I'll bring it up. I need to see what the time of possession stats were, but it's a good point he brings out that if you stay on the field, the offense, so it's 34-25. So yeah, about 10 more minutes of possession. Yeah. I mean, that is huge. Like they were throwing the ball so quick that our pass rush was completely negated in this game. But yeah, I mean, I think the defensive struggles have far too much talent for them to continue at the level that they have at times. But owning the time of possession, especially when you are a run-first football team, is how you wear them down and bust massive runs to close it out in the fourth quarter.
I have a bone to pick. I saw the effort that John Johnson put in on the DeAndre Swift.
I was hoping we
run.
Talk about this.
No, I have to. You know what? That is piss poor effort. That for anyone who hasn't seen it, our friend Roberto Shenanigans, which is you will find it because he posted the video clip of him just giving a little arm wave as DeAndre Swift went and housed it. That is despicable.
Did he even give an arm wave? It felt like he just like waved by. Like he was
Come
like,
on, man. How excited were we all about John Johnson? And I'm not trying to say he's a bust of a signing or whatever, but I mean, dude, you're caught in 4K. That is just abysmal effort.
Hey, side note, did you know that the last time Michigan beat Ohio State in football, 4K didn't exist?
Yeah, I saw that.
I saw that today, just because you said 4K.
Yeah.
Dude, I think John Johnson is a hell of a football player, but right now, man, like I had this conversation in the offseason where I did one of those change my mind memes where I said John Johnson is the best signing or the best free agent acquisition since the return. Changed my mind. My God, did he change? I don't know. At times I have thought it was because of the way Joe Woods is using him.
Sure.
But like plays like that has nothing to do with where Joe Woods lined you up.
That's effort, man. That is just effort.
And Nicole Chatham has called him out a couple of times at Browns Babe. She is great. Her podcast For Pete's Sake with Pete Smith is just phenomenal. I think they really like work well together. But she's called out effort, and I'm with her, man. If effort problems are unacceptable, absolutely unacceptable. It's okay if you're out of position, or let's say you run a man blitz or whatever, and they throw it back behind the blitz, which is, usually means nobody's there and they run for a bunch of yards. Some stuff like that shit happens. Busted coverage, miscommunication, whatever. But one thing you can control yourself individually on every play is your effort.
Yeah.
And man, he said when he signed, I had to take who wouldn't want to be a part of something special. Yeah. If you want to be a part of something special, you got to give a shit and actually try, man. There's no place for people that aren't going to give 100%. You didn't even give 70%.
Because again, like we said, yeah, the Browns are underperforming. Most of the locker room, I mean, obviously probably knows that, but the season is still right there for you. You're fighting for your season.
Your quarterback is killing himself for you, and you didn't.
Every week you're fighting for your season. That is, and I don't like to dwell on negative. I don't like to, but I mean, come on, you're putting that on film when it's like other guys are like Nick Chubb is laying it on the line to get the Browns that win, to seal that victory. And then you've got that, right? I mean that the team, the effort that the other guys are putting on the field, they deserve more than what John Johnson put out there on Sunday. And I'm not that guy that likes to, really pick on players or whatever, but it's like,
call it like it is, man. A spade's a spade, and that's what we do on this show. We're homers. We know that, but I'm going to call it like it is.
And here I am picking the guy apart. I don't know.
We're going to transition to some positive talk, but
I'd like to.
First, something needs to be addressed. And we got to pull Ed on here for just a second.
Ed. I love Ed segments.
What's up, guys?
Ross says that after we got Ed as a producer, this show feels like 1-31.
Well, that's his opinion. And I mean, take it from a guy that's, not always getting W's, hey, I don't really care, I mean, hey, stick a sock in it, Ross. I love you, but you're absolutely wrong on this one. And we can have a beer, but, I just like Hugh Jackson, he's a nice guy, but I don't want him anywhere around the Browns. And it might be the same in this scenario.
You know what?
Happy Thanksgiving, Ross.
I don't blame you. I mean, shots fired over there.
But I want to say this. Speaking of Browns fans, it's just like the Cavs. When you have championship hopes, sometimes the regular season just isn't as fun. The Cavs all the time in January and February, things aren't going right. And David Blatt took them bowling and it turned it around that one season and they did this. And hopefully the locker room can come together. But with expectations, hey, things like this happen when things aren't exactly going the way that we planned. But like what Nick just said, our destiny is still ahead of us. Yeah. And that's one thing to be thankful for. I mean, how many seasons have there been lately that, weren't even in it. So I'll take this any day. Enjoy the playoffs, Cleveland. We're in the playoffs. Our playoffs begin in week 12. That's all.
Hey, Ed, you do a great job. And I just want to say The Browns deserve better than John Johnson's effort, and you deserve better than the Ross slander right now. I'm just saying.
That is near and dear to my heart. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And, I have mad love for the dog chug and even Ross. But when they're going to slander me like this, it's like OBJ's dad putting out a video. It's like, I don't understand it. This is on tape now. This is for the world to see. That's why the free ed movement's going to get bigger. Thank you, Ross. You're proving the free ed movement's point. It's going to be larger than the parade in Cleveland in 2016. Thank you, my friend.
You're igniting it, Ross.
We will talk to you a little bit later on, Ed.
Yes, sir.
I had to get Ed on there to defend himself.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on. But seriously, do check out the Dog Chug tonight at 10 p.m. Ross is great on there. He's a good friend. We just wish he would have better taste in words about Ed. That's all. We just wish
Ed is the people's champion.
He's the people's champion. So let's talk about some things I liked. We're going to start on the defense because we were just pretty hard on John Johnson. You know what? Ronnie Harrison had his best game of the year. I wouldn't call what Ronnie Harrison did as phenomenal, but they essentially played 4-4 and played him as a linebacker, and the dude thrived, comparatively speaking. Okay. So, bravo to Ronnie Harrison. I mean, we talked about him being a box safety, being, that pseudo, the big bodied safety that can chase down athletic quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson. This is a big game for Ronnie Harrison, JOK. Those two together are really the neutralizers, because I'm never going to call anybody a Lamar Jackson stopper because the dude's a freak. But those are the big, and if you put Ronnie Harrison in that box, that's exactly where the dude needs to live. I'd like to see Joe Woods do that a little bit more. I mean, there were still some plays I didn't love from Ronnie Harrison, but I wasn't mean tweeting about him like I did the week before. And so I wanted to be like, you know what? I wanted to say, thank you, Ronnie Harrison, for playing better. And honestly, you know what we need to talk about? We need to talk about the next man that should be paid. And that is Denzel Ward. Denzel Ward has been phenomenal, especially I think it's week 6 was the breakdown. I can't remember where I saw the actual stats, but since week 6, he has a stupid rating. Like he's allowing a near nothing passer rating. That interception was one of the best interceptions I have ever seen as a Browns fan. Now, granted, there's probably not a whole hell of a lot of good interceptions that we weren't throwing, so that we were on the receiving end where the interception was a good thing. But that he absolutely mugged, without committing a penalty, he absolutely mugged the receiver on that interception. That was a throw that, I think in years past, the old Browns, that it got caught, or there was a pass interference. And Denzel, he played the receiver, he mirrored the receiver, he stuck to his hip, he just followed him, saw the ball, and he wanted it more. He flat out wanted it more than the receiver did. And he went up and he took it. And I was a little bit hard on Denzel when the season began. I thought he struggled a little bit out of the gate. I even said on Twitter that I thought, well, could it have anything to do with him not practicing? Because he didn't play in the preseason. I think he missed a lot of training camp. He had that soft tissue hamstring issue. Maybe that lingered into the season. I called him the third best corner on the team. And I think for an early stretch, maybe he was. Greg Newsome and Greedy Williams played better than him for a couple of games. But since week 5, week 6, especially since the week before the Cincinnati game, he played well too. But especially at the Cincinnati game on, Denzel Ward, he reminds us why we said all offseason he was a lockdown corner, why he was a number 1 corner. I was a little bit hard on him early in the season, and I want to eat some crow, say I'm sorry, and give the Warden some props, because Denzel Ward's playing out of his fucking mind.
He is such a Jekyll and Hyde player, and by that I mean when Denzel Ward is on the field, he is fantastic. The problem is you mentioned a soft tissue injury. He's had it a billion times, and concussions, right? And that's not his fault. You know
No. We're not saying that.
No. And so it's like, and I agree, right? Because when you find a corner that is that good, obviously that's somebody you need to keep around, right? Because Denzel's proving it every week. So kudos to him, because there were a lot of question marks about Denzel Ward and like, can he stay on the field and what's he going to do when he gets on the field and all that. And he is making the difference. He's making the impact, and that interception was massive, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not always going to be pretty, but you won, and you won in part because of Denzel Ward. And I think, oh man, the idea of, let's see. Okay, so Denzel Ward, I know he's not old.
I have him pulled up right here. Denzel Ward is 24.
Mm-hmm. 24. Okay, so the idea of pairing him and Greg Newsome together for like the long,
just turned 21.
Baby, that's a beautiful thing.
He's
and now
just turned 21.
And Troy Hill's practicing. Love it. Love it.
You know what? Hats off to Troy Hill, man. It looked like one of those injuries where you weren't sure the dude would ever play again.
They were talking about it on 92.3 the day after, and they were saying, his career might be over. And I was like, well, no, I'm not ready for Troy Hill, because, oh man, Troy Hill's been good too, right? Those sacks against Joe Burrow and all of that. It's like the Browns need all hands on deck, and it definitely feels like all of a sudden, you know what? And I want to reference the good news. So you've got, and it doesn't mean they're going to play, but Kareem Hunt, Jack Conklin being activated. Oh, baby.
I have been talking for weeks about how much I miss Kareem Hunt. A couple of weeks ago, I think in the Steelers game, I put out a tweet. It was one of my best tweets of the month. It was like, all I said was, we miss Kareem Hunt, and everybody's like, hell yeah, we do. And I put out a tweet this morning. Let me, for anybody that doesn't follow me, which I completely understand, I'm fucking awful. But for anybody who doesn't follow me, I would like to bring up my tweet today about Kareem Hunt. Let's talk about Kareem Hunt a little bit. I just feel like he's this missing piece. Like, he's that spark you can have in a Week 12 game. All right. So Kareem Hunt this season is averaging 5.2 yards per carry. He has forced 20 missed tackles on 69 carries. So 20 of his 69 carries, that's more than a fourth. That's almost a third of his carries. He's forcing a missed tackle. He has 12 explosive runs of 10 or more yards. And he is averaging 3.54 yards after contact per attempt while catching 20 of his 23 targets.
It's a beautiful thing.
Think about that.
You need that. You need that on the, especially if Baker's struggling to throw deep, which obviously he is. Oh man, dumping off to Kareem Hunt sounds like a great option.
Kareem Hunt's ability in any way, shape, or form, whether it's handing him the ball, a screen pass, or a flare pass, he can also line up at wide receiver. And right now the wide receivers are just not playing well. So his versatility is off the freaking charts. Overall, he can line up wide. He can do all these things, right? And he can block too. Let's not forget that he can block. But his ability to create after the catch, his ability to create, when there's nothing there, he is the missing piece in this offense. He helps a struggling quarterback in so many different ways. He helps Nick Chubb. He helps even to Ernest Johnson. This guy is the kind of guy that when you get him back on an offense that is missing something, you will never, he's a top 10 back. Adding a top 10 anything on a team it's not a bad thing. You can't say in any way, shape, it's a bad thing. Kareem Hunt was, I would say, overall, was having a bit larger impact than Nick Chubb when he went down. And I love Nick Chubb. I don't think Nick Chubb's I don't think he's a better runner. But because he does all these other things, when you pair him with Nick Chubb, I just don't know what you do to stop it.
Now let me add something, because you said whenever you add a top 10 anything, you're going to have a great time. Jack Conklin was the first team All-Pro right tackle. That's not top 10. That's number one. That's number one, right? And you are potentially reuniting the number one offensive line in football. Jack Conklin, by all accounts, by being the first team All-Pro, was the best right tackle in football last year. And you are potentially getting him back before the biggest game of the season. I mean, I love Blake Hance, a guy named Blake, but he's not Jack Conklin, right? And if you get Jack back, that is that. I mean, Kareem Hunt is a massive boost, but getting Jack, the Browns already have the number one rushing attack in the NFL. Imagine adding the best right tackle in football to that. You know?
Blake Hance is in the 40s on pass grade. I love Blake Hance. He's not a tackle. He's just not a tackle. He's been good enough.
He's been admirable.
Where would you be without without Blake Hance this year? Yeah.
Nowhere good.
Bad.
Nowhere
but
good.
You're telling me a quarterback that is banged up and is struggling right now is about to take the weak link on his offensive line and get an all-pro right tackle back with another top 10 back. Nope. Listen, I'm not saying, okay, so the comments coming in here, Kareem Hunt alone is not going to turn around the offense. That's not what I'm saying. My point is you add Kareem Hunt when you add Jack Conklin, if you can find a way for Baker to be more consistent, it's going to come back down to Baker.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm telling you right now that they can stack
Baker
the box
can't play
if
like
they want to. The run game is not being stopped. They're not being stopped. Nick Chubb has
New England stopped it, but they're really freaking good.
You know what though? New England stopped it, but that's because Kevin Stefanski went away from it, and Nick Chubb wasn't even there. Not to mention Kareem Hunt. You know what I'm saying?
Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb have barely played together this year, correct? Because you factor in Arizona didn't have Nick Chubb, and then Kareem Hunt went down.
Yeah. So what was Chicago? No, was Nick Chubb active for Chicago?
Yeah.
Okay. So was Chicago the last time? Is that crazy?
It would have been before Arizona. It would have been like Minnesota or whatever. So that's the thing with what you haven't had? Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb in the backfield with the starting 5 offensive line.
Yeah.
You have not had that. That's my thing. Yeah, I get it. The comment, the offense is missing is Baker's playing bad. Yeah, I've said that. But when I'm getting at with the Kareem Hunt, with the Jack Conklin, getting these players around him, Baker's not going to get worse with an all-pro right tackle returning, with a top 10 running back coming back. Baker's got to be more consistent. He has got to find a way to be more consistent. Absolutely. It starts and ends at the quarterback position. But these are the kind of players that you get back that help jumpstart it. They help this turnaround. They help Baker in the ability to dump off and create after the play. Those two, if they're both healthy and if that line is healthy and they are able to take some more pressure off of 6 and he doesn't have to do as much. We talk about, everybody wants to point out that the games that they're so good in are the games where Baker Mayfield only throws 20 times a game. Well, you want to know how you get games like that? 2 top 10 running backs.
Yeah. Well, the last time, let's see, I'm looking for it. Okay. So the last time the Browns won in Baltimore, Nick Chubb had 20 carries for 165 yards, averaging 8.2 yards a carry and 3 touchdowns. Right? It's like the evidence, the proof is right there in the pudding. Now, granted, Baker on that day did have 342 yards passing. He was 20 for 30, which was a good day by him. But what broke that game open was Nick Chubb, right? And so the evidence is right there that you can dominate them. And I know it's been a couple of years, but their defense has not been some spectacular.
It's pretty banged up. It's pretty banged up.
And so you're talking about already the Browns are already the best rushing attack in the NFL. You're adding 2 elite players by all accounts.
That help in the rushing and the passing attack. Let's not forget they're going to help every facet, both of these players.
Yeah.
Kelly wants to know, are expectations for JOK against Lamar Jackson, do they blitz like the Dolphins did? I think you got to try it. I know Woods doesn't love to blitz, but the blueprint to beat Lamar and the Ravens, the Dolphins helped show us that. So, yeah, I think he's going to have a good game. Listen, Dan's saying mean things about us. Dan says even with Hunt coming back, he isn't sold on Baker bouncing back. He's too injured. Maybe. Ed says 4 games with Hunt and Chubb. Minnesota was the last time. There you go.
Minnesota was the last time.
That's what I thought it was before Arizona.
And this is why Ed is a fantastic producer, Ross.
That's why he's over there. That's why he's over there.
Yeah.
Okay. So Cancel Anime's got quite a few things in here I want to touch on. Some really good stuff. How much of Baker's injury is affecting his play? I think Baker's probably somewhere in the 60% last week he was. That healthy. That's where I think. Is some of the mental stuff with Baker have a direct correlation? I do think so. Think so. We've seen the happy feet again. We're seeing those that have gone away last year. I said that kind of earlier this year. And in the game that he played really well, injured against Cincinnati, he was decisive and didn't have happy feet. He's got a heel injury and a knee injury that are messing majorly with his mechanics and in turn causing, it's not just, I think with Blake Hance as a liability out there, by the way, Jed Wills was phenomenal on Sunday. Jed Wills has secretly been getting healthier and really showing up at left tackle. Good for Jed Wills. Yeah, and Ed said happy feet and can't plan his feet. Exactly. Right now, it's the injuries, I think, in his head, especially with Blake Hance and not Jack Conklin out there. He is afraid of getting more injured in some of these games. And in terms, he felt phantom pressure in 2019. And at times I see him feeling phantom pressure here as well. Cancel Anime says, I think Baker showed that he can win and dominate by throwing 30 plus times. Those stats are skewed because a lot of that is from 2019. No, I agree. I'm just pointing out that all these talking heads that want to hate on Baker always say that the Browns are the best when he doesn't throw. Well, the only way that can happen is with both the backs out there. I love Baker. Think Baker's the guy. Norman's got some comments here. Let's see what he's got. In Detroit, he was able to make the throws early, but I wonder as the game went on if all the ailments were part of it. It's focus and frustration. Frustration, there's a good word. Baker is so frustrated that he is not physically where he should be in terms of if he was healthy. It looks like the labrum he's starting to learn how to deal with that, because the issues I saw came from his mechanics on his feet and his knees. And I think that we said this, man, just win, baby. That's the title of this episode. If he can gut it out this week and then shut himself down for the bye week, we need more consistency. And I still believe that he can give it to us. But we've got to find a way, man. You got to keep him upright in this game. Jarvis being hurt. Yeah, it's a good point too. A lot of the receivers being in and out. Jarvis is clearly frustrated with his body as well. Yeah. There's a lot of frustration out there, and I understand it. If you win this week, rest up, and you win again. If you sweep Baltimore and you're at 8-5, you're in the driver's seat to an AFC North championship.
You have to win. Win this week somehow. Please win this week. I don't know.
Nothing. I don't give a shit. Find a way.
Tua Tagovailoa. I'm sorry.
I just call him Tua because I know I can't do.
I don't want to butcher his last name.
I can't. I'm not even gonna try it.
In all respect to him, Tua came in with a fractured finger and just put it on him. And the Dolphins are not a great team. And I know it's just one game. The NFL is week to week. But my point is, the Ravens are not this. I mean, they needed a gift of a non-delay of game penalty to beat the Lions. They needed
and an NFL record-setting field goal on top of that.
God, they've needed so many historic comebacks to beat the teams that they have. They lead the league in fourth quarter comebacks, which, I mean, kudos to them. But my point is that they are not some juggernaut that is dominant throughout the game and just putting it on you.
They're not the 07 Patriots.
No, they're not. And so if you if you go there and you start, I hope they start with the ball. I mean, I know the coin toss, but I hope if they have the opportunity to take the ball, just take the lead against them and continue. Just dominate time of possession because the Browns are built to do that. I think that they can win. I really, you know what? I know Baker was bad against Detroit. I know he was, and I understand that, but that doesn't mean the Browns can't win. It doesn't, and that's their talent level.
We're getting some comments. Lower body mechanics makes the throws look bad. I agree. Over on Twitter. Cancel Animes, have you noticed a decrease in his velocity? I think at times, and I think that has to do with torquing his upper body with his shoulder and his labrum. I think sometimes he can't get the rotation. He can still spin it. But yeah, I don't think it's like every throw, but there are some throws here and there that don't have the velocity that they normally do. But I mean, the dude can't contort his body. At this point, he can't plant. Like, I get it. If you're going to be on the field, if the injuries are not enough to keep you off the field, you need to still play at a high level. That's where I'm at. I get that.
Yeah.
I don't want to make excuses, but the reality is he is banged up. His mechanics aren't what they would normally be, but you are going to be held to a standard that if you're healthy enough to play, you should be healthy enough to perform. And that's my personal belief. Drew Brees had said leg injuries impacted throws just as much as arm ailments. There you go.
I would definitely like to say this is probably the first time this year is the first time, that I've legitimately questioned the coaching staff. And I'm just like, what? Okay. Case Keenum played well enough to beat the Broncos, and I don't see any reason why he couldn't have played well enough to beat the Lions. That's my opinion.
You know what? That actually brings me to a couple of points. That is me too. I trust Kevin Stefanski. I'm okay with Baker playing this week because I get how big the game is.
Yeah, no, yeah.
But I really don't understand why he didn't sit against the Lions. I don't understand why he didn't sit after the second pick. I don't think the second pick was on him. It was a hell of a play by the linebacker to tip the pass. But when you could tell Baker was limping and not, that is the one that really has sat a little bit wrong with me. Although I love it that we couldn't just admit that Baker had a bad game. I saw a bunch of people try to call the play calling again. The play calling was great.
I thought so.
The plays were there.
Yeah.
Baker wasn't able to make the throws. At times he made some dimes, which shows you that even hurt, he can still play. The plays were there. You had some missed opportunities. Baker was 15 of 29, so he was barely over 50%. You had some receivers, a couple of drops. Hooper had a drop. Hooper had a pretty good game outside of a characteristic drop of his. The plays were there. I know everybody's solution is always if there's an incompletion, everybody always goes, well, why don't you run the football? You can't run the football 100% of the time. It's not going to work. I respect it. The play calling I thought was great. I thought once again, it came down to 10 penalties, 10 fucking penalties again today. 10 more penalties. Now that is on coaching, discipline, and not getting your players to execute. They had 3 more defensive pre-snap penalties? 3?
What? I don't know. I thought we moved past that. I really thought we moved past that. Those are so preventable. I don't understand.
Okay, so the point here, I think the argument that his injury isn't affecting him just because he's out there is weak. I didn't say that. I said I know it's affecting him, but if you are good enough to play, you got to perform. You've got to perform. I know you're not 100%, but if you're going to go out there, I don't want an 8.6 QBR. I'm not excusing that.
What did Case Keenum show that said he is so terrible that he can't step in and give Baker a week?
Against the Lions, I don't know that I think you could beat the Ravens with Keenum. I don't necessarily know it. But against the Lions, I'm going to tell you right now, Keenum could have done what Baker did on Sunday.
Okay, so let me ask.
He could have at least done that, and that won the game.
The Ravens beat the Bears with a backup quarterback. Are you telling me the Browns couldn't beat the Colt McCoy is beating teams with the Cardinals?
2-1.
I mean, what is going on? Why are the Browns acting like they have Deshaun? I don't even want to.
Well, you had this opportunity.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, I do. Ed says toughness doesn't equate to effectiveness. Exactly. Yeah. You can be as tough as listen, I think you're really, really tough, Baker. You're way tougher than I could ever dream of being. But there's no shame in here's the thing. If he had sat out against the Lions, played against the Ravens, and then had the bye week, you would have two, you would have from this Sunday until 2 weeks before he had to play again, on top of having a week off back there. Yeah, I get it. Keenum couldn't make some of the deep throws Baker made. Yeah, but he could have made those a lot. He is more than good enough to have beat the Lions. I'm not necessarily saying the Ravens. I think with Kareem Hunt back, things like that, I think I've talked myself into believing that Case could beat the Ravens. It's the Lions that I didn't understand. Norman says they want to avoid a quarterback controversy. There's no controversy. When he's healthy, Mayfield is the player. And there is nothing wrong with you're sitting him down because of injury, not play. That's my point.
And you know what? They say Baker's being selfish. Baker's going out there. Okay, if Baker let's give that credence for a minute. Baker is costing himself tens of millions of dollars with his play right now. Right? So if Baker's being selfish,
it's not about the contract.
If Baker was being selfish, he would not play right now, because every week he goes out there and plays like this, the Browns are less likely to give him what he wants.
If it was about the contract, like I've heard some people say, he would have shut it down and had surgery after week 2.
Yeah, because now
you go, you can't use this year against me. I was hurt.
Because you're not even in the same stratosphere, in the same universe right now, contractually, based on what Baker will want and what the Browns will offer him on his stats. I mean, what he's got 10 touchdown passes this year. Who? No one in their right mind would ever give that guy $40 million a year. No, and that's what he wants, obviously, because that's what quarterbacks get, right? So he's going out there every week, and dude, it's like I don't know what, what. So to me, I don't know. I'm not a capologist. I'm not anything like that. But when people say that Baker is just being selfish and doesn't want a quarterback controversy, you are creating doubt with your play right now. So if Baker was being selfish, personally, I think he would sit down because he is not helping. He's not helping himself in any bit of.
Baker's a gamer. That's why he's playing.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We're going to get ready and wrap this show up. We've had a great time, talking to you guys tonight. I think we've had some good, productive conversations, getting some things out of there. Had some fun. We're going to bring Ed back on here real quick because we've got a segment to end these things out that we started a couple of weeks ago. And this is what I'm going to ask you guys. This is our closing argument. Well, first.
Oh, can I do my list? I got some lists, guys. I wanted to do a.
Yes, you have a list. Yes.
Yeah, dude, Ed.
Okay, so
we're about creative freedom here. We're about Ed expressing himself. We do not slander Ed in Columbus here.
They let my creativity flow, and I got a turkey list and I got a thankful list because we're all in the spirit. And so my turkey list, because you got gobble gobble. I got to give it to Stefanski's red zone play calling. Now, it's been kind of weird that Johnny Stanton played in New England. That was uncharacteristic of such the professor that is Stefanski. I'm going to give it to the Zebras. They always seem to be a turkey of the Cleveland Browns because for some reason they just we don't get along with them and they don't like us. I don't know. The media always on the Browns. They love to talk how bad things are going in Cleveland, but we're 6-5, so shut up, media. And but I got some things that we're thankful for because, this is, the spirit of the mood and everything. Myles Garrett. Let's be thankful for Myles Garrett. He might win Defensive Player of the Year. I know sometimes the defense takes, some ribbing because they're third and whatever. They always give up that whatever. Progressive commercials. Those progressive commercials. That's guys. That Bernie one that just came out yesterday. That one is a great commercial. I love how they're getting Deacon and Bernie and all the Browns people involved. So shout out to Baker and Progressive for that. Dearness Johnson, where would we be? We got Chubb and Hunt, but Dearness Johnson, and to Nick's point, it wasn't New England that stopped the run. It was Stefanski stopping Dearness Johnson from running.
I got it.
And one thing that we should all be thankful for, let's not forget, destiny is still ahead of us, guys. We control our own destiny. Keep winning football games. And I got to say, I am thankful personally for Fireball. Thank you.
I am thankful. You know what? I will do what I'm thankful for. Nick, you do what you're thankful for. And then we will have our final segment because I've got a doozy of a scenario for y'all in the final segment. Guys, I'm thankful for Browns Twitter. I'm thankful for the Cleveland Browns. I'm thankful for the two people talking to me right now on this screen who have become two of my best friends in the entire world. And it's all because of football and all this stuff that how would I have met you guys? You know what I mean? I wouldn't have even crossed paths with you at all. I live hours away from both of you. Well, an hour and a half from Ed and a few hours from Nick, but so many people, I have hugged people, so many random people, there's the gang signs. Anyway, I have hugged so many random people over sports. Sports is the ultimate unifier from all walks of life. No matter how much we hate each other Monday through Friday, on Sunday, we are all friends. I'm thankful for everybody. I'm closing in on 3,000 followers on Twitter, which is just asinine that 3,000 people want to hear anything that I have to say. But I am so thankful for all of you that are spending some time talking to us and listening to us and interacting with us right now. And those will interact in the future. And I'm thankful for the Browns winning on Sunday. Ooh. Nicholas.
I am incredibly thankful for the two of you right here. We're on episode 31 now. And that's crazy. I never thought I would be able to do any of this. And I couldn't do it without both of you. And Ed, you're incredibly supportive. Jacob, you just bring it every week. And now Ed, you're over here producing and doing all this great work and just bringing such a nice element to what we do. You're such an addition. And Jacob, it's every week you come with all this knowledge and all these stats and facts, and it's just what people don't appreciate how much time it takes to be knowledgeable, right? Especially when
my wife really doesn't appreciate it.
You know what? I can say that Avita might not appreciate it so much either.
I give Kelly Fireball and she leaves me alone.
There you go. But you know what? Especially when Brown's Twitter can be so angry, right? I'm very appreciative of our entire group. You know what? And a lot of people don't know, but we've got quite a little group going, and it's a beautiful thing. So I'm thankful for every one of them. And I am especially thankful for Nicholas, Jamal, Chubb, for sealing games, for winning things, for being the most consistent Brown that I've probably ever seen in my life.
League's ultimate closer.
Every week. And you know what? He had the one hiccup when he was still injured against Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And I've seen Nick Chubb come within 100 yards of a rushing title with Freddie Kitchens and a bottom 5 offensive line. Right? And now he's just
You know what's funny? Early on in the year when he hurt his calf, all the Titans fans were like, see, he can't take the workload, but guess what happened to Derrick Henry?
Well, so I'm thankful to be able to talk Browns every week because I never thought that any of this would happen. And I feel like this is the very beginning, and we talk about this inside. And so, I'll pull back the curtain a little bit. We very much believe that we are building lifelong friendships and lifelong bonds and all of this, and it's spawned so many other things, right? Like the dog chug has come out of our friendships, and like just so many hangouts and things, and I can't wait. Ed, you're gonna come up one of these days. You're a busy guy, Ed, and I respect that. But
I will be up. I will be up before the new year. I got to mention Andy. Andy has chimed in and says that he's going to replay my list when he can't fall asleep. So once again, more slander on me. I said, come get me, free Ed, you guys, showing me the love, let me be creative. And then once again, I see more fire Eds in the comments. I don't understand the hate, but guess what? I'm going to join them at 10 o'clock, and we're going to get this thing figured out.
I'm actually super excited for that.
Okay. And I'm going to be there because I'm off tomorrow. I'm never off on Thursdays. For those who don't know, I'm never off, and I will not stand for Ed slander. I will be there.
So
my brother.
I have questions. Okay, so we're gonna close it up with random weird scenarios. This is week 3 of the random scenario to close our final segment. I've got 2 options for you guys because I got a couple that are just absolute, just awesome. So you can choose one that involves a disease or one that involves a superpower.
I defer to Nick. You can pick first.
All right, I'm in.
Which one? Disease or superpower?
Superpower.
All right. So you're now a superhero with an unlikely power. Is it, so from these 2 options, what superpower do you want? Is it the ability to shoot meatballs out of your nose or the power to create force fields, but only around ants?
Only around ants?
Yeah. Meatballs out your nose or force fields around ants.
You know what? I get hungry sometimes, so I'm going to shoot some meatballs out my nose. That sounds kind of... right? They're cooked, right? Right out my nose. I got meatballs.
I don't know, but I mean, if you could cook them if they're not.
Yeah, perfect. That sounds great. All right.
Meatballs. So that's what
you could feed the world with meatballs.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Nobody
wants to make force fields around ants. Because think of it. Think of how badass of a dynamic duo that you could be with Ant-Man.
Well, that's a thought. That's a thought.
It is a thought, but I'm taking the meatballs, and that's where I'm at.
Jacob, give me the disease. Give me after that ant thing. Give me the disease, please.
Okay. All right. Listen. So, would you rather have a disease that makes you say every thought that ever crosses your mind, or a disease that makes you react very inappropriate to all the interactions that happen to you and around you?
I feel like I got that disease already for both of those scenarios. So, hey, I look in the mirror and that's me already. So, hey, thank you, Jacob. You gave me a softball on that one.
All of them. Guys, we will be back next Tuesday at 8 on our regular day and time.
For the mashup.
Yeah. No, not next Tuesday. The mashup's in 2 weeks.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. Tuesday is the 30th. So we will be back next Tuesday at 8.
Oh,
just me and Nick for our regular
talking
show.
Browns win over the Ravens on Tuesday the 30th.
That's right. So we will be talking about the Ravens game, and then the following week on the 7th we'll be following the bye, and that's where we will team up with our good friends at the Dog Chug for an extravaganza. I think it's gonna be like an hour and a half or 2 hours. It's gonna be we have been working on this for about a month, putting it together behind the scenes. A lot of times it's just Roger yelling at us like a grumpy old man telling us to get off his fucking lawn. But like, I think we've got some ideas out of it. I don't know. I love you guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Check out the Patreon. I've got some work coming up on the Patreon this end about the wide receiver room. I'm still waiting for my announcement. Had some things moved around. That'll probably come on Monday. But we love you guys. Nick, get us out of here.
So I would like to say a special thank you to all of our Patreon members because you guys are wonderful. And it still doesn't feel real that, you know what, that some amount of money is coming our way for doing this. I can't believe that. I never envisioned that. And so for that to be a reality is incredible. So thank you to everyone so much. You know what? Because you make the show better, right? You give Jacob resources, you give me resources. And just in general, you know, it helps. It helps so much. It's you don't realize how much it helps. So thank you for all that. And don't forget, right? We are just about to roll over to December, so a shirt giveaway is coming, right? For all of our Patreon members. We don't have a whole. We have a nice little group, right? So your chances of winning are high. If you want to join our wonderful.
If you joined right now, and nobody else did, you would have a 10% chance.
That's pretty good, right? For your $5, you got a chance to win an over $20 shirt, and you get group chat and Jacob's cool articles, because God knows I can't write, right? But Jacob can.
I can.
So there's a lot of fun things to it that you can do, and I would like to say a second thank you. I am 2-0 in Zabo apparel gear. Love them. Love their gear. Love everything they do. They have a Black Friday sale coming, which I just saw. They are wonderful people. They are veteran owned. And if you are looking for Browns gear, Zabo Apparel is the place for you in Vermilion. It
is apparel for the diehard fan by diehard fans.
Yes. And so they are wonderful people. I need to make a trip to the Vermilion store, just 20% off. I think it's 20% off. I saw their tweet today. So they're wonderful people. You all are wonderful people. Anyone who is subscribed to YouTube, is on Facebook, any way you join us. Thank you so much to all of you, right? Because slowly but surely we've been growing, even in this stage of Browns upsetness. Even now, it's crazy. The support is amazing, and we cannot wait. And now we got Ed. Ed is great. I just want to say this is an Ed Stan account. We will free Ed. I will not stand for any Ed slander. That guy is great. Look at him. Beautiful.
These two guys are great. These two guys, and that's a W right here. That's a W right there. That's what's going to happen on Sunday. Big game on Saturday. Go Bucks. I ain't going to lie. Ohio State alum. Let's go. OH.
It's going to be a beautiful thing. We're going to beat Michigan, and then we're going to beat Baltimore in front of the country. It's going to be a beautiful thing.
Down goes the hardballs. Down goes the hardballs.
So this has been the Jamal Lewis episode of the Barking Browns Show. And I feel fantastic about it. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Have a happy Thanksgiving. We can't wait to see you again. I'm Nick. That's Edward right there in the tie. Look at him. That's Jacob. Oh, no, that's Jacob over there looking all wonderful.